Nearly 10 years ago, the area I'm standing in was completely submerged, drowned by a giant surge of water generated by Hurricane Katrina, the most destructive natural disaster ever to hit the United States. It threatened to completely wipe the city of New Orleans off the map and destroyed large parts of the US Gulf Coast, an area the size of Great Britain. Many people perished. Some were lucky enough to be airlifted to safety from the rooftops of their homes. But the region and New Orleans did recover. These eco-friendly houses you see behind me are testament to the city's ability to recover from this disaster. And yet many challenges remain, not just for the businesses that depend upon this unusual environment, but also for the people that live here. We'll be talking to them in the run-up to the anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. And we begin in the lower 9th Ward, one of the hardest hit areas of New Orleans, where some people 10 years later still haven't gone home.
I was in church and I just started hollering and crying and saying, God, how you let this happen to us?
It just was rough. It was just rough. It was rough, real rough. I cried, I cried. It was rough. I really do not like talking about what we went through.
Esther and Errol Joseph lost almost everything to Hurricane Katrina.
It was completely damaged, flooded from the bottom all the way to the top. It was really bad. Stinking, wet, nasty.
The family of 5 fled to relatives and friends before a torrent of water destroyed their neighborhood. When she finally made it home to inspect the damage, Esther was mistaken for a looter by police.
I had a gun held on me. You know why I had a gun held on me? I had an iron bench and 2 iron chairs. I put them towards the back of the house. I put them behind the back of the house, and I went home and came back that next day to go get those same 2 chairs. The gunman had a gun on me. He said, you can't take that.
Their home is being refurbished with help from a charity that's brought 200 families in this district back home. But the hurricane's toxic after effects run deep.
There's a lot of houses that are still decrepit or about to be knocked out, but as well as the mold that grew in all the sheetrock. A lot of the houses have been gutted, but that mold, if they haven't been properly treated, will still be within the wood.
The mold is gone from the home Errol was raised in, but he blames red tape for the long delays obtaining authorization to restore it and allow him to sleep under his own roof once again.
I've gone through a lot of bureaucracy about putting my house together. I've gone to the mayor's office, I've gone to the representative's office, I've gone to the senator's office. More than one senator, more than one representative. We can't do nothing about it. It's a state program.
Hurricane Katrina destroyed or made uninhabitable 300,000 homes across the Gulf Coast. Only around a third of the predominantly African-American population has returned to the lower 9th. It's one of the poorest places in the US, with poverty more than double the US average, where people can be living on as little as $32 a day. NGOs have taken the lead in bringing people back. Hollywood star Brad Pitt's Make It Right Foundation built these homes. But they can't cover up a visible sense of abandonment. We're just a few blocks from where one of the canals in New Orleans burst, flooding this entire area. And 10 years later, you can see it's almost completely derelict. Apart from the church there, most of the buildings around here have been completely destroyed and are abandoned. Despite the hardships, Errol and Esther won't contemplate leaving this area, even with the possibility of another Katrina.
I don't worry about nothing like that. You can't run from God's will. And if God allowed it to happen, He'll rectify whatever happened.
There is hope. Startups are flocking to New Orleans to drive stronger economic growth, a sign that a new generation can make this city flourish again. The sound of the lower 9th Ward there from the Martin Luther King Junior High School Marching Band. Well, US President Barack Obama will be in New Orleans this Thursday to see for himself the recovery efforts 10 years after Katrina. And many of the residents we've been speaking to around here are hoping he makes good on a White House pledge to cut red tape and ensure that some of the victims of this tragedy can finally go home. Owen Fairclough, CCTV, New Orleans.